I'm sorry, it's what? What's up, guys? That guy with a... With a what? With a who? What is this thing that I was linked to intrinsically that has spontaneously been erased from my existence? I don't know. But you know what I do know? That I have it on me, and keep it on me at all times. And I have 15 minutes to give you my thoughts on the fact that Chainsaw Man's just ending. It's ending next chapter. And let's start. So, first things first. What? Oh my head. Oh my head. Oh my. So apparently, before I had gotten my grubby little mitts on the chapter, all the way at the end, not that far at the end, all the way at the end. Funnily enough, I'm literally gonna have to do a whole bunch of weird editing stuff for this anyway, so I don't get exploded by the same people who create Chainsaw Man. But regardless, all the way at the end, this used to say final chapter in 2 weeks, but it changed it to be continued. But apparently it's been officially announced literally anywhere and everywhere, not just originally as a mistake thing at the end of the chapter. Chainsaw Man is ending next chapter. Chapter 232 will be the last chapter of Chainsaw Man. Now, there are two sides of this I want to address. Two sides of this. There are two wolves fighting inside me. And they're both kind of rage-baited. Because, number one, if this is the end of Chainsaw Man as a whole, the big bad, no part 3, nothing out of the third, the next chapter of 232 is just the end of all of Chainsaw Man as we know it. I'm not happy. I'm not happy. And you may be like, whoa. Pencil Man, no. I just remember what I'm intrinsically fused with. It just spawned back into existence. There we go. Guess someone threw it. Wait. Who threw it up? Who could have thrown up this thing? Man, I don't even remember who could have. In fact, what am I even talking about? So that's one of my major issues. I think the off-screening of the essential death of both our main, or not even our main, our titular character. Kind of insane. Don't get me wrong. I'm someone who actually is kind of 50-50 on off-screen hockey. I'm a big fan of Blackbeard, and that's literally how he wins all of his fights. Have I actually read One Piece? No. Will I? Maybe. But regardless, simply the idea that Denji got off-screen by a whole bunch of evil superpower bugs, and then eaten and devoured, and Pochita's answer to that is erasing himself from existence? And then just next chapter's end? I don't know. I really don't like it. The idea that the true answer to Chainsaw Man as a whole was, I guess, Chainsaw Man shouldn't have existed. Like, in some weird, esoteric, meta-commentary, wackadoodle way, I can, like, gaslight, and I mean top-tier, look myself in the mirror, pull the other me out of the mirror, and lie directly to my face. You're like, well, you could argue that this is an allegory. We could argue this is a grand allegory for the nature of Chainsaw Man, like the actual narrative on a grander scale, the manga itself. Like, Fujimoto believes that his own life would have been better if Chainsaw Man never existed, so why not erase Chainsaw Man, the character, and Pochita / Chainsaw Man, the character, as in his infusion with Denji, erase that from the timeline and the life entirely in order to show that Denji's life is better without Chainsaw Man, aka Pochita, and then Fujimoto's life would be better if Chainsaw Man never existed. Cool story. Wouldn't be the first time a creator has infused their own experience with their work into their own meta-narrative, or like into the narrative itself. Have you ever heard this little named guy? His name is Toby Fox. Like, that's kind of his whole thing. But regardless, in terms of ending it here and now, I could go down the rabbit list. It's not even a rabbit list. Or not a rabbit list, Lord. I could go down the rabbit hole of how many character lines, plot lines, story arcs, everything that just gets cut off there and undone. But I hate to say it, I don't even care about all that. You want to know the main thing that would get me mad if there is, or not even would get me mad, because we're kind of, the main thing that would annoy me more if chapter 232 was just end, done, we're not getting another part 3, or there's no part 3, anything in that. It's the idea that this is the soft / hardcore version of It Was All a Dream. Oh, what's the ending to my story? The story never happened. I hate those with every fiber of my being. And note, when I say I don't like stories where the story never happened, I don't mean Link's Awakening, because that's one of my favorite Zelda game stories. Why? Because the dream did happen. And it did happen to Link. So when he woke up the Windfish, he did end up slaughtering all the that matters that haunted that Link for the rest of his days, and the whole thing with Baron. Like, that works. The dream still happened. Unless I'm reading this wrong, and with the way that's ending literally next chapter, and there's a high possibility of no part 3 just by the ending of part 2 and how that's gone. It just genuinely feels like the end of the story is that the story didn't matter. Or not the story didn't matter, the story didn't happen. And I hate those. I really don't like that. But let's address the other side. Alright? Aside that people start putting things on my soul, which I'm not the biggest fan of. You could at least ask me for. But regardless, the other side of things. The idea that, this is just the end of part 2. Don't worry, part 3 will save us all. Part 3 this, part 3 that. And admittedly, I even started to huff a little. Is that a strong strand of copium? I started to huff a strong strand of copium myself. I feel it. It's coursing in my veins. The power of copium. And that power of copium is focused on the idea of, if we think of Chainsaw Man as truly as a tri-part series, as a trilogy, and we go with the whole, traditional trilogy structure, where you have the beginning for the setup, you have the middle high point, which ends in the second act that ends in a low, and then you have the third, which is the great finale that wraps everything up and concludes everything. Think of your Star Wars trilogy, specifically for episode 4 through 6. That is a perfect example of starting off, setting the foundation, and ending off at a good place to start the second, which goes up really, really high, but then ends at a really low point, and then the third is the triumphant finish turnaround. That could be what Chainsaw Man is if there's a part 3. However, all of that is relevant, and here's why I say that. Specifically, sticking to the Star Wars analogy and the Star Wars reference, The Empire Strikes Back on its own. What is episode 5 called? I haven't watched the movies in a while. Lord, episode 5 Star. This is so embarrassing. Episode 5 Star Wars, because episode 6 is trying. Yeah, it is The Empire Strikes. The Empire Strikes Back is a good movie on its own. Is a good quality, solid movie on. You don't even have to watch the first one. Heck, I didn't watch the first. I watched Star Wars all the way out of order. So let me tell you, Empire Strikes Back alone is just a good movie, a good story in of itself. It's well contained. It still has a beautiful follow through structure narrative. I cannot say the same for Chainsaw Man Part 2. If you had to ask me right now, I'd probably give Chainsaw Man Part 2 a 5. A 6 if I'm feeling generous. Meanwhile, Part 1, I'm giving it on average, on a normal day, I'm probably giving it a 7.5 and 8. But you catch me on the right day, you got me feeling a certain type of way. You find me glazing at the wrong moment, I may say that thing's a 9. 9! Not a 10. Never a 10. But a 9! Part 1 was crazy. Overall, band for band, pan for pan, bam, bing, bop, boop, bow. Part 2 is kind of what would come out the backside of a cow, gosh darn it. And not as a whole. Part 2 has many things that I like. I do like Yoru's character. I do like Denji's journey of self-actualization and realization and the struggle between humanity and inhumanity for what he would be as an individual. I like Asa's struggle with that. That's literally it. The rest of the part 2 is kind of hot, but now not necessarily. In terms of art, I say it's kind of. And then in terms of the rest of the characters and how the rest of the side cast is handled, it's kind of. How the rest of the horsemen are handled, it's kind of. It doesn't grab me by the throat and beat me in the same way that part 1 did. And I can't even say, is it not for lack of trying? Or I can't say Fujimoto didn't try to grab me by the throat and beat me over with a baseball bat like you did with part 1. But it didn't hit in the same way I feel like it should hit. Part 2, and I think one of the biggest issues with it, and even if there was a part 3, I'd say that wouldn't save Chainsaw Man and wouldn't save part 2 or Rectify or something, make this a good ending. The reason I say that is because this is a continuation that part 2 has been having, a continuation of a problem that part 2 has been having for a while. The idea we're going to set up something really, really interesting, and we're not going to follow through. We're going to end the chapter off really, really cool, and then we're not going to follow through. And you may be like, well, Pencil Man, I don't know if you're new to this, dog. Yeah, those fantastic videos you have on the channel, maybe you forgot. This is the weekly manga special. It's not the weekly manga special. Either, I will agree, the weekly manga special, or bi-weekly manga special, or monthly manga special, is to end on a cliffhanger. That is true. That is true. We can nap up on that. That's juicy, that's Jack, that's clean. You know, it isn't Jack juicy or clean. Setting up something really, really cool, not following through on it. There are multiple other manga that drop weekly, more consistently than Chainsaw Man Part 2 drop, that either met the standard of their cliffhanger for the previous chapter or exceeded it. Kagurabachi, Ichi the Witch, JJK. I know that one's controversial. Let me cook. But specifically, heck, in its prime, Sakamoto days. I'm telling you, we've seen example after example after example after example of you can do both. Heck, Chainsaw Man Part 1 was good at setting up something at the end of the chapter or setting up something over a long-term period and at least following through. There is no follow-through. I'm sorry. You can't go from what 230 was to this, have Pochita suddenly decide, yeah, and against everything and all odds, I'm going to just erase myself and everything you ever lived for and make the story irrelevant by erasing it entirely, by erasing my existence, and just turn the series into Man. You can't do that. You can't do that because it just feels out of left field and nowhere. And let me get down to the brass tacks, the nitty gritty. I still don't think this was in character for Pochita. Pochita looking at Denji's life and seeing his ability to work his way through adversity and always find the positivity in things and deciding the best way for Denji to live his life is to abandon him and undo everything that he's ever done, to erase his dream, and Pochita's helping actualization of it, even though he literally tells Denji to keep on dreaming. What? Like it just, the end itself, this 231, I don't think is that good. Even actually thinking on it more. The end of it for part 2, if there is no part 3, is it good? Part 2, if there is a part 3, is it good? Nothing about this is good. And that's sad, because I know Chainsaw Man has been a topic of very, very, very hot, heavy, sweaty, meaty, throbbing debate in terms of, well, is it actually even that good, or are people just glazing it to the moon and back? I've always been in the camp that Chainsaw Man is actually pretty darn good. Do I think it's the greatest thing ever? No. Have I ever thought it's the greatest thing ever? No. Have you ever heard me glaze like it's the greatest thing ever? I have 4,000 videos of homework you can do. You will always find the answer is no. But this gives me prime MHA ending feeling. Prime, I don't feel like writing no more, let's just get it done kind of ending. Prime lowest Sakamoto Days stuff. And if you know how I feel about the lows of Sakamoto Days, you know that's the worst insult I can give to a narrative. And it's either wind down / conclusion. This feels like how I used to feel about Magi's ending. Magi's ending still like a 6 or 7. Something like that. Maybe an 8. No, not an 8. Not an 8. I have much more beef than Magi's ending. You asked me a few years ago, Magi's ending was like a 3. But regardless, I'm not happy. I'm not happy. If I had one thing I want you to know, I am not happy with how this is the end. The end of whatever it is. If it's the end of Chainsaw Man as a whole, I think that's horrible. I think it's horrible. If it's the end of part 2, I think it's horrible for part 2. Do I think this ending of Chainsaw Man for either part 2 or the entire narrative undoes the entirety of the work of part 2's good, or especially part 1? No. I don't think it does. But unfortunately, how you end your narratives matter. It's why I can never put Hunter x Hunter on the pedestal that I would want to put it onto, because it hasn't ended. And at this rate, it likely never will. So I'm sitting here in this position, in this world, looking at something that I think could have been better. Now, am I Fujimoto? No. Am I a professional writer? No. Can I be like a weekly or bi-weekly or monthly or biannual manga? No. Never. But my honest opinion, my honest thoughts, this is bad. This is bad, and it reeks. It screams of, I just don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. And honestly, I kind of don't like my story. Once again, I feel like no person who actually likes the narrative that they're writing or crafting ends their narrative with either A, it was all a dream, or B, it all got erased so it didn't matter. You don't end narratives like that if you like them or love them. I'm sorry. If you can think of a good solid narrative that ends with but the story never happened actually, and or it was all a dream. If you can let me know of a good story like that, let me know. I want to read it because Chainsaw Man has gone down that route. So, overall, I'm feeling quite negative with how Chainsaw Man has decided to end itself. But of course, those are my thoughts. Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'm out of time. So if you made it all the way to the end of this video, please do me a favor and leave. It was all a dream. Question mark, exclamation point. Leave. It was all a dream. Question mark, exclamation point in the comment section down below. I want to thank you so much for watching. Please remember to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. And make sure to hit that lethal notification so you don't miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, you can have a Patreon down below where you can support me for as low as $1 Delmont. Things like exclusive video, early content, and more. You can also now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Those perks include the live reactions, maybe this is to review, ad-free reactions of all my videos, early ad-free access to all my videos, early ad-free access to all my videos, not just here on the main channel, but on the same channel that goes shown in the description down below, along with the fact that you get your name listed at the end of every single video. And when I say name at the end of every single video, I do mean every single video I produce for both channels. And if you're a $3 member or $3 patron or higher, you get your name listed and read aloud at the end of every single video. So on top of that, I do have a link to my Twitch down below. That guy with the controller, I do stream every Friday at 8 p.m. EST. I've been doing it for a little bit, but I'm trying to get back onto it. But regardless, I also do it by Ko-Fi down below. I'll drop 5 views for a short video, which is essentially like these style videos, or 25 views for a long video, aka every other video on the channel. You can drop 5 beans for that, 25 beans for a long video. But now I want to thank you so much for watching. I know you guys have a wonderful day. This is that guy with a pencil writing off. Alright, lady, thank you to our sketch tier members: Eternal Flame, Red Wolf 4765, Astro, Glacier XZ, Zera, J2MA, Bura Ura, Yuki Ally, Grim, Ollie, The Boy, Corey Watson, Damon Brown, Dino, Tim Thomas, Kaving, OrXN, Logan Guzman, Dead Meme, Keon Stewart, Donovan McIntosh, BNA DNA, Edwin Ingbi Straw, Antavius Mitchell, Superflame Zero, Weary Exile, Window Life, Alex Kenny, Todd, The Practical One, Landon Clapwick, Heath Nelson, CAET, Jagoda, Plant Crone, Striker Man, Brendan Payne, Black Sage, Multi Batman Superman, Zalims, Joe B, Sleepin' John, The Young Family Pastel Pandora, Mo City King, DKG, Andream Bonet, Akolade Babatunde, Romano Furin, Sky XT, Victor Jacobs, Axis XC, Osin Tabwit BDM, Kingly, at JDog2656, Union Eye, Marisol Boyd, Funny Dude, Benzi Shear, Magic, Sino King, Shish King, Aswin Hedi Placetia, JMB KD, and CCC. Then, let's give a thank you to our line art tier patrons: Red Zoen, Corina Hernandez, Kevin Encarnacion, Lil Kodo, Midnight Lord 21, and Sean. Then, let's give a thank you to our Ink tier member, Shrimpo the 4th Shrimp 06. Then, let's give a thank you to our digital art tier members, J Warrior and AZ Void. And I'd like to give a final thank you to our colored art tier patrons, Walking Minos, and Ernesto 430.